Welcome back to the KB Money Show. It's your boy KB, ready to give you another episode. It's another week. Things have been going great. There's a lot of things to catch you up on. I have a great show lined up for you today. We're gonna cover some things, and then we're gonna let you enjoy the rest of your day. So, just some updates as it relates to me. Uh, had a great week. Really had a really great week. Went to a couple networking events. That's always good to get out and network with folks. So if you're not networking and you're staying at home all day, or if you're just working all the time and you're not making time for connections and meeting new people, I would definitely recommend consider doing that. Is every time you go to a networking event, if you can meet one or two new people, that's always a great thing. And obviously, especially like when and I know what you're saying. Like, man, it just be so many people there. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know anybody, but that's okay because surprisingly enough, if you ask other people, they probably feel the same way. And so a lot of times you can break the ice and just talk small talk. How you doing? How's your day been? What brought you to the event? Those are interesting questions. The one that everyone always asks is what you do, and that's always an interesting question. Um, I think it's sometimes I get it, no harm, no foul with what do you do, but before you ask that question, just learn more about the person themselves, like their motivations, what they're interested in, and let that come up organically as well. Um, because sometimes what I've seen is people are asking each other what they do so they can size them up to see if they can do business together and all that. But first establish the connection first, and then if it, once it leads to that side of it, then that's going to be a natural flow into the conversation as well, because there may be synergies there to do that and collaborate. So yeah, so I guess that's a quick networking tip for the day. But yeah, outside of that, I had a wellness day on Friday, which was absolutely amazing. I always again, we talking about making more money, we talking about health, wealth, all those things, but you got to take care of yourself first, because if you're not well, none of that other stuff matters, because your health is your wealth. I know that's extremely cliche, but you got to take care of yourself first. So, first thing I did when I got up, I took off, by the way. I went to a meditation session. I almost fell asleep. That was fun. Then I went to get a I went and got a pedicure. That was cool. And then I did one other thing. I went to the park. That was cool as well. Met up with my brother-in-law, hung out with him for a minute. Then we did some stuff, and then met up with my wife for our. You already know, or if you're a first time listener, then hey, you always know that date night is my wife and I's thing on Fridays. We got a standing date night, and that's a tradition that we started for us. And so, if you're like, man, wow, that might be something interesting to incorporate, I highly recommend that you do. Now, sidebar, if something comes up on Friday, just renegotiate. All right, something come up, let's push it to Saturday. So that's where a little bit of flexibility come in. But for the most part, the biggest thing is just having that time where you can come together, be together, because you're working all day. Uh, you distracted by other things, and so that's that time for you two to connect. So for those out there that have significant others, or you have a fiance, you have a wife or a husband, vice versa, put in those date nights. We talk about grinding and hustling, but not to the expense of your personal life. So you gotta is not really a such thing as work-life balance, but as long as you come to some agreements with your significant other, you can work on it and get it done. It's not about the huge time commitment. It's about making an effort and being consistent in the time that you are together, and just like being present when you are together. So that's really important as well. And so just wanted to share that with you. And so we did a little. So we finished up one of our shows. We finished up one of our shows, and so we did that, and we called it a day. And so here we are today, this morning. This morning, got up this morning super early, went to the park, got some cardio in, and then the last hour or two been preparing for the show. And so here we are. Without further ado, let's get into it. I appreciate you listening in. And so let's get into our first topic. So our first topic is, and let me make sure I got it right here. And there won't be any edits on this video, no major edits. This is live. It'll come to you pre-recorded. So the first topic is 100K a year is not enough. All right, so let me do a screen share before you get upset with me. And I'm going to walk you through some things. So don't be upset with me. All right, here. So I'm gonna do a screen share. All right, so let's see. So that's not the one I want to get to yet. So let's talk through some things. So this is hopefully you can see my screen here. Yeah. So why 100K, $100,000 income no longer buys the American dream in most places. And so the American dream. And so I guess maybe at first, so the article, and this is from CNBC. So I know some people say, Ken, where are you getting these articles from? So I'm doing a screen share so you can see. Let me put me to the bottom. Let me put me over here to the bottom, move me out of the way so you can see. All right, so the American dream, it's important to understand what that is or what the perceived dream it is. So for many people, it involves a combination of owning a home, getting married, having kids, and making enough after expenses to save for retirement. And of course, you want to have leisure and things like that, date night, traveling, any hobbies you're into. I'm into bowling, so I love bowling. So I know I want extra money out when I take care of those other things mentioned. So the benchmark, and so this article goes on to say the benchmark of a six-figure salary used to be the gold standard income. Sabrina Romanoff, a clinical psychologist, told NBC it represented the tipping point of finally earning a disposable income and building savings and spending based on your wants, not your needs. And so, and then it goes on and it talks about a study that they did was more than half, 52% of Americans say they would need at least $100,000 a year to feel financially comfortable, with 26% saying they would need a salary in the range of 100,000 to 149,000, basically 150, according to a 2023 CNBC Your Money survey conducted by SurveyMonkey. Now, the thing that I want to talk about is the reason that this is a challenge sometimes is because of this. Let me see. All right, so I want to show you something, and we'll talk about it from a couple different angles. The reason that $100,000 may be a challenge these days and living off of it is because I want to show you something. All right, so I always like to make it practical, and you can look this up yourself too. So you can go to, I found this calculator. This is an inflation calculator from let's see here, the Federal Reserve Bank of uh, Minneapolis. I don't know how to pronounce that, forgive me. All right, so let's show you what $100,000 looked like. I play with these calculators sometimes because I'm like, wow. Because you can feel it, but until you actually put the calculator into what you thought you were feeling, that's when it becomes real and you're like, oh wow, okay, I get it now. All right, so if you were in 2000, if you were in 2000, in the year 2000, some of you may not be old enough for that, but let's just show you what $100,000 would have been worth then and what it is worth 2023. So the $100,000 today back then would have been it would have had the spending power of 176,000, almost $177,000. That's significant. So think about the consumer staples, the things that you purchase on a day-to-day basis. Your money's going pretty far. From the and you got leftover, you can save for retirement, and you can do other things, and so that's just showing you what it looked like at a snapshot in 2000. Now let's just show you how it slowly starts to inflation starts to erode that spending power over time. So and just 5 years later, it was worth 156,000, but still worth more than what it is for today. All right. So now let's go to 2010. 2010 and calculate. It would have been worth pretty much 140. And I remember that time period where even and let's even like, okay, we're talking about 100,000, but I remember this time period. So let's half in it and go 50,000. 50,000. And so even your 50,000 in 2010 would have felt like 69. And yeah, I'm saying that right. Yeah. That's how I would have felt. That's how I would have felt. Now, let's keep going. 2015, just back in 2015. So, let's just say a person does make that. And so that's why I just, when you're thinking about this stuff, man, you don't be upset with the person saying that, 50,000 or 100,000 isn't enough, because that's usually where they're coming from. And if you're someone that wants to continue to do better for your family, you gotta look yourself in the mirror and say, man, you know what? You might be right. Like, it feels like I'm squeezed, because you are. You're being squeezed by inflation. Your money is not going as far. So even in 2015, that 50,000 would have felt like, uh, yeah, I think I'm saying that right. Yeah. Now let's, and if you were in that smaller percentage of making 100,000, my thing is, hey, it would have felt like that same 2023 back then would have been 128,000. I might be saying it in reverse. Sometimes I get myself all turned around, but that's all good. But you get the point. You get the point. Now, but let me show you something else. I went to Nerd Wallet and I was playing around. And look, because this inflation thing ain't no joke, man. So let's see. Uh, so I want to show you something here. Let me move me out of the way so I can see. All right. So, oh, it deleted it. Starting the thing. Let's say we're gonna do the same exercise. We're 2024. You bought something for 100, then you purchased the same item. Select the final year. Okay, so I need to do it backwards. Okay. And if you say I'm doing something wrong, you go play with the calculator and you manipulate it so you can. The biggest point is just understanding the example. So cut me some slack. All right. You don't have to be perfect to understand this stuff. Sometimes they try to make it super complicated, but it's not, All right. So, okay. So look, check this out. So inflation calculator, learn how inflation erodes your money. This resource is Nerd Wallet. If you have a better resource, drop it down there. We're not trying to make this rocket science. We're just trying to make this understandable for the everyday person that don't have all this time to be doing all this. But if you do, you can go to Nerd Wallet or you can go find another inflation calculator. It's all good. All right, so let's say in 2000, you bought something for $100 and then purchased the same item in 2024. All right, cool. How much would that item cost? 181.38. Think about that. So think about the calculator I just showed you, and this is what's eating up your money. It's just the cost of things are being more and more based on inflation. So let's just say let's move it to 2000. That's 2000. Let's move it to 2005. That same $100 thing. Yeah. So, but you get the example. So the more and more you play with this calculator, it'll just make this inflation thing real for you. A lot of times you may hear it as clickbait, and it may feel like clickbait, and people are, that's how they make their money. They do clickbait ads and things of that nature to attract, and then advertisers come in and do all that stuff. But we're not trying to clickbait you. We just telling you like, look, this is what it is, but that's okay. If you hadn't reached the 100,000 mark yet, and they say most people aren't going to make 100,000 in their lifetime. Well, how about you not be one of them? How about you be the ones that do, and you put yourself in position? And so, with that being said, hey, not I don't only just talk about the reality of what we are in the economy and what's going on. I also provide resources that can help you improve your situation. And one of the resources that I have uh, available to you is Level Careers. Level Careers is uh, they offer courses that can help you on if you're trying to get on a six-figure track. The thing here is they focus on careers in the tech space that can help you eclipse that 100,000. That's the low side, to be honest with you, with some of these career paths. If you really lock in, I get it. It's not for everyone, but if it is for you, hey, let's get into it. Here's a little testimonial. Uh,
When I asked him about some of the resources that I knew of that could help prepare me for that transition from SDR to account executive. Um, and the course is taught by Kevin Dorsey, and it is absolutely rocking with just all sorts of gems to help put you in the right frame of mind to be an account executive, but also give you some very tactical and helpful sort of tools to really maximize your success.
Yeah, so that's just a little small clip that I want to share. But if you're trying to earn more faster, level up your career, um, no degree of experience required, feel free to join. The thing I like about it is they have a 14-day money back guarantee. So if you don't like it, you can get your money back within 14 days. These are some of the companies that have hired some of the students. I actually personally know the CEO, and the thing I love about the CEO, he's not just selling courses, he also lives the life as well. So like he's done these things, and the teachers of these courses also are practitioners as well. And so that's the thing that I always tell people when you're looking for courses or you're looking for help or support or coaching, make sure the person is doing the thing that you're getting the help with and where you're trying to go. So, over 6,000 students enrolled. Feel free to join. If you join and you use the code KEN, KEN, you'll get a discount. You'll get a discount there, and that'll be my way that I'm bringing one resource to you. Hey, and if you check it out and it doesn't resonate with you, all good. It is all good. Okay, so back to the show. Let me unshare, stop sharing. All right. So our takeaways from there is, we talked about it last week, but inflation is real. The $100,000 still doesn't. The $100,000 is not buying the American dream the way it used to. But it's because of the cost of things are getting more, and the salary and wages aren't keeping up with the pace of inflation. So you can look it up for more details there, but that's just more context around that. And so but my biggest thing is, hey, let's control the controllable. If you're feeling frustrated, if you're not happy with your situation, let's do something about it. If you want to do something about it, if not, then hey, that's okay too. But it's gonna be a rocky road, and you're gonna pretty much have to tighten up and play defense and just penny pinch and just make the best of what you have, which we always should do that anyway, being good stewards of our income. But again, you can only save so much. So I'm encouraging people to play offense too. And with that, sometimes offense is changing careers. Like I showed you earlier with Level Careers, But if tech is not your thing, figure out what your thing is, and then also like do your research and look like what is the trajectory of the future earning potential, and so that can really help you start to overcome some of this inflation. Because we're all impacted with it in some ways. It's just that some of us are making more money, which is helping us not, which is not helping, which is helping us not feel it as much. But we all feel it in our different ways. I remember I went to the gas station. I went to the gas station, and I think the gas was like 4.50 or something like that. And I was like, dang, okay. But it is what it is. You gotta live with it. I gotta put it in my vehicle to move around. And so, it is what it is. All right. So look like look like Keon joined us, and he told us that he will be joining a little late. So we just covered 100,000 is no longer the American dream.
Mm,
As we close this, do you have any thoughts on the 100,000? I went over inflation calculator. I went over the inflation calculator to show why, and I did the comparison of how much 100,000 went back in our parents' day because it went further
oh,
up
for sure.
up to the present day. And then I also used the calculator that showed how much 100,000, like $100, an item costing $100 in the early 2000s versus today, and seeing like the stark differences to make that connection. And so I just gave you a quick summary because you're 1 year into the workforce, so it'd be good to get your perspective on where you living in Philly, getting ready to go to Boston, a higher cost of living. Are you and with your current income, and of course, it's going to continue to explode and surpass the 100,000 because of the career path that you chose. But are you feeling the inflation at the current income that you're earning
I'll
from
say,
from a
it's
Gen Z perspective?
it's funny that you mentioned, especially like it definitely the location factors in a lot. Like it's one thing when you're looking at an area that's a lower cost of living, like and I say Philly, some people are like low cost of living because some parts of it's really expensive, but man, that's probably what most areas. But when you're in an area with say like where you can pay a lower amount for rent, for example, versus when you have to move to an area like a New York or Boston or certain parts of California, you definitely feel it. And so things you might have got away with before, or a little you might not have been running as tight of a ship before, but things start to kind of like in sports when they say when you're winning, you know, you, you don't notice all the mistakes when you win. They say winning covers things, but when expenses go up, you start to see like, oh, was I really spending my money as efficiently as possible? And then in terms of 100,000, is it not the American dream? I mean, I would love to have 100,000. Um, definitely I think that's still a great amount of money to have. Are you set if you have 100,000? I don't know if he was ever truly set. Maybe like back in the 1900s, but not in the past like 40 years do I think you've been set with 100,000, but it's definitely a good start to have 100,000 saved up.
Yeah, and I might cut one of the topics because I think let's dive in this real quick because let's write. I don't if I can figure this thing out real quick. I want to
Hmm.
just show people. I want to do a visual of $100,000. So
Mm,
so you gotta so you got I'm gonna write 100,000. My laptop is touchscreen, so $100,000. So let's just say you gross $100,000. So then let's talk about taxes. you know, I'm not a tax guru, but let's just say it takes out 15K. I don't know why that's up there. Move that out of the way. Let's
I
say
would I would
15.
say even more than that.
Yeah, but I'm just being nice. I'm being nice, but let's make it
They live
20.
in Florida.
Let's make it 20. That puts you at 80. 80 net. But you got to think about with that 80 net, you haven't done anything yet. So let's say you want to live the American dream, right? The American
Right,
dream. Now interest rates are like 7%. What I had looked at them today. I should have looked at them, but I didn't look at them. This was impromptu. So let's just say you have a mortgage, right?
right.
but it's a 7% mortgage if you get in the house today. So with that being said, let's just say you have a $200,000 crib, $200,000 crib at 7% interest. $200,000 crib at 7% interest. Mortgage calculator. I ain't gonna be lazy. Let me go to the mortgage calculator because y'all be probably judging me if I grossly inaccurately. Okay, so 225, you can just pull up on your phone. I'm pulling up on my phone. I'm gonna go 225 loan, 30-year fix. All right, monthly. All right, so it says monthly payments. Takes no time to put this in either. All right. Let's just say you kind of at a 700. Well, it says the average. I think the average credit score is lower than that, but that's okay. All right, so all right, then you put. So let's just say it's 1638. That's not counting private mortgage insurance and taxes. So let's just
Right.
say that's $2,000 a month. Let's just say you're at $2,000 a month, right?
Right.
Okay. What is $2,000 times 12?
That's 24,000, ain't it?
Yep. 24,000. So you're basically subtracting 24. 24 from that. Where does that put you?
That'll be 56.
That's 56K. What was your bills? What bills? You know, bills will probably run you another 500. What, 500 a month, right?
Yeah, maybe say 750.
All
Be
right.
safe.
So am I being too aggressive here? 750 times 12, right?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
That's 9,000. 56 minus 9,000. Where does that put you?
Shoot, what, 47?
That puts you at 47.
Mm-hmm.
That puts you at 47. All right. So 47K left. Now, let's just say, you got a whip, right? Yeah, you got the whip. You got the
Yeah.
whip. Average retire average car note. Now, I don't recommend getting, car loans and all that, but if you have to, be able to pay it off within a year or two. But I get it. When you just starting out, you gotta do what you gotta do, stretch it out. But like, hey, I'm just telling you what I do. So it's on you. But let's just say you say I ain't listening to what Ken talking about. I'm getting me a whip. So that's 600. Let's just say it's 600 a month, okay? How much would the gas be?
I guess it depends on how often you drive, but for me, I was driving almost every day, so I was filling up at least twice a week. So I broke it down to say, let's say it's about 70.
So 70 times 4 is 280. So we got 600 plus the gas. That puts
Now,
you at,
that's if you're driving a car, though. Now, if you're driving a truck or SUV, you might have to double it.
well, let's just say they got a car. We gonna give them that. We gonna say they got a car. We hadn't factored in insurance yet either, though. So the car note 500, the gas is 280. Let's just round it up to 3. So that's 600, 300. How much is the insurance?
Anywhere from 1 to 200,
Let's say
250.
200. With insurance going up these days, let's just say 200. So so that's really $1,100, but we're gonna say 1,000. We're just gonna say an extra 1,000 because we want to add some balance. So $1,000 times 12 is 12. So you subtracting that off. So that puts you at 35.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing: you haven't eaten yet. You haven't invested in your retirement or brokerage account. You haven't saved any money yet. You haven't purchased any clothes, no trips. You got 35K left to your name. And then also you understand what you mentioned earlier about miscellaneous. things that when you was comparing a lower cost to a higher cost, where a higher cost would expose some of those bad money habits, where so most people in their budget they don't have a track on every single dollar. So usually there's a miscellaneous, there's some money leaking out of there just because you're just doing various knickknack things, subscription. Oh, I'm gonna go here, hit Starbucks here, whatever. You like, and that's fine because nobody's expected to be perfect with a budget, right? So like,
Right.
so let's just say to eat. Let's talk about eating. Let's get back to eating.
Maybe 100 a week.
Man, what y'all eating? Y'all
I'm
buying a
being
whole bunch
realistic
of rice.
because some people don't cook.
But if you don't cook, it's gonna be more than 100. If you're eating out multiple times for the whole week, you're eating out, door dashing or Ubering, like Uber Eats and all that. Like, they throw them premiums on there and it can get a little pricey.
I think it depends on what the person trying to do. Because some people they be finessing it. They get the McDonald's app, they get all the coupons. But some people, like you said, do just be spending a crazy amount on
All right.
DoorDash, delivery, and all that.
So you said 100. All right. So we're gonna go 100, which I don't think that's realistic, but
Let's say 300 a month on food. What do you think?
phew, how much do you spend on food? Let's make it real.
Oh, no, that's a good question. I don't want to plead the fifth. I mean, let me think. I mean, we it really depends on the season, but we might go out to eat like once a week. But that's two of us. So if we go out to eat once a week, and it doesn't have to be a fancy spot every time,
But
but let's
just
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 say
ballpark it. Just ballpark it. It don't have to be perfect.
let's,
Just ballpark it.
let's just say it comes out to $100 every time.
Plus
But
the
that's what you.
groceries. Plus groceries.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even. So the grocery that would be something different then. But yeah, for this, so if it's 100 for a couple, I would say 50 for a person. So maybe 200 a month. Yeah, because 300 might be a lot for one person. I'm thinking about it for two people.
I'm gonna put 400 because I don't know where y'all be eating at, but divided by, so you said 300 times 12. That's
Are
3,600
you including groceries in this?
because you're eating it. Like,
Oh, okay. Well, if you're including
eating out is a
groceries, then
luxury, but it's still feeding your body. Like, it's not, you don't have to go eat out if you don't have a lot of money. You can go
I,
get
I would say
groceries
I
and
would
make
say
the food.
400 then.
Okay, so
Oh yeah, I would say
400.
400 if it's including both.
So that's almost 5K.
Yep.
So that's 30. How much do you want to save?
Well, let's say you're doing the emergency fund route, and you're
Now let's
you're
say you paying,
saving.
let's keep it simple. Saying you paying yourself uh the what the traditional retirement folks tell you, save 10%, at least 10% into retirement, 10-15% in retirement. So you got to do that off the 100K.
Let's figure out what the paycheck is then,
Well,
or we can just
100K,
or we can just say
100,
10K. Like
100 is just be 10K.
okay, I don't think that's bad. Then save 10K. I think you can save more, but
Yeah, but then you ain't, all right, so fun, all this other stuff. You ain't bought no shoes, you ain't bought no outfits, you hadn't you hadn't did any traveling, no entertainment. This ain't even
I
really
would
talking subscriptions. This ain't even really talking about travel, like gifts, birthdays. This ain't none of that.
I would go 5% to start, maybe 5% for 5K throughout the year. So then, what is that per month? Like almost 400 ish.
That leaves you with 15K. But I think that we've been very generous with the numbers. But let's say you have a kid.
Mm. You got to go back and massage some of them numbers.
But that's the point. So even at 50, so with 15K left over, and I think that's being very nice. I think it's being very nice.
Yeah, I
But
think tax is gonna eat some of that.
correct. I think tax is really gonna eat more into that. You know what I'm saying? Like I think taxes are really gonna eat into that. Um,
Random expenses.
like for you, you like, man, we going to Mauritius, bro. Like, so with 15K, maybe you want to get mama something. Maybe you want to get your significant other something. Like when you really start doing the math, you like, ooh, I gotta make more money. Like if I really want to be able to move around, you know what I'm saying? But anyway,
Yeah.
that's you know, I don't want to draw it out, but that's just giving you an ideal. But then also what's not being spoken that we didn't take into account, the price of things are continuing to go up. And
Yep.
so just even purchasing the same things is just going up, and it's like slowly like a leak. Like have you ever seen a leak overnight where you got to put a bucket under it, and then when you wake up you see the bucket almost full and you like, dang. And so like
Uh-huh.
it's like that small leak with your income, and it's slowly
Mm.
pulling away from your spending power, but it's not noticeable until you go to sleep and you wake up and you like, dang, what happened? That's inflation, and that's why we're saying we got to keep making more money. And if you are a couple, you got to work together. Like always, hey, start the IKEA relationship, pool both monies together. All this, I value this, and
Yep.
I don't want this. I don't want that. Ain't nobody got time for all that with this inflation going on, and life is life, and like, and y'all want to live a fruitful life. Like, don't nobody got time for all that. Like, it's absolutely insane conversation. But yeah, so let me get off of this whiteboard. That was a whiteboard moment. But yeah,
I like the whiteboard. I think that needs to be a regular on the Money Show.
yeah, so that was a whiteboard moment. I was getting ready to pivot to the next segment, but I thought that was important to share that. So my next two segments, it was two things. One thing, but it's two scenarios because everyone know it. One is the layoffs, man. The layoffs in the retail and tech space. You had Nike doing some cuts, 740 jobs. Then you got Tesla, 10% of staff being laid off. Uh, what's your thoughts on that?
um, I'm gonna give you my PC thoughts. My PC thoughts are, I really, I feel bad for the people that got laid off. First of all,
Yeah.
so that sucks. I'm sure that sucks. Not just waking up one day or however you find out that you got laid off. Sure, it can't be a good feeling. So I hope that they bounce back and are able to find another opportunity. And I think this is just a reminder that for me, my takeaway is, people preach to you, oh, get the job. This is security. At the end of the day, I believe in being your own security. Like I would never rely on another person or institution. Now, of course, that's not to say some people take that and go the utmost extreme with it and just dive into like maybe the solopreneur thing. It's all about just recognizing, power and being strategic. You can still be in corporate America, or you can still exist, with as an employee, but have an end goal in mind and work it and don't let it work you. I guess that's how I would put it. Um, but yeah, man, just prepare. You never know when your company or when your industry, because it's not even just a company thing. Maybe the shoe industry or apparel industry is going through something, and Nike has the heads up. So you never know. You always got to be on your toes. I feel like so you always got to have your resume polished, or at least be in that mode. Like, okay, at least once a year, let me polish this thing up once or twice a year. What do you think, Kim?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I'm always when we be talking just on the phone and stuff, and things of that nature, I'm blessed and I'm grateful, but I'm not oblivious to at any given time, the company can be like, hey, in the terms that is used is a company restructuring to position themselves for future growth or for the future, you know, but you got cut, they let you go. And sometimes, you know, contrary to popular belief, some people think like, well, I'm a high performer, I'm protected. Unless you are a founder of the company, you are not protected. I've seen scenarios where high performers were let go. I was reading the test with the Tesla layoffs as well. There were high performers in that. So like just being a high performer sometimes doesn't necessarily guarantee you that. But you know, I'm always of the opinion of like everything that you said. But then also like we're not gonna operate in fear. We're just gonna keep pushing. But at the same time, you gotta be when you start your journey, you gotta already have that in your head. Like obviously you show up and do the best, be the best version that you could possibly be at that time and keep pushing and you know, providing value. But at the same time, you got to be also being strategic and like setting up investments. Maybe it's a side project that you want to work on, you know, and like cultivating those things because I will never forget this. I remember talking to someone that had got laid off and they told me, they was like, Ken, I gave them everything, bro.
Wow.
And they was crying, bro. That hit me like a ton of bricks. Just like for me,
Yeah.
like, cause you know, with connection with
Real.
humans, you feel it, right? Like, so it's like when they said that, it hit me. Like, I was
Hmm.
just there from a support perspective, just, hey, I'm just calling, checking on you, making sure you're good. I heard, you know, the company, what happened. You know, I don't want to like be in your business, but just know it, like, hey, I'm here for you. Like anything I can do. I don't know what I can do, but if someone in my network, if it's an opportunity in my network, I'm happy to like make an intro or whatever. But they was like, I gave the company everything. Ever hear me out. Everything. Meaning like when they outside of work, they wearing a brand. They got on all the paraphernalia, like they got all the clothes on that represent the company. They got the hat, they got the mug. When they out and about, hey Kim, what you do? I work for the, you know, I work for this company. And like it was a sense of pride, and like that company became your identity. And it stripped your identity, or at least it felt like it stripped your identity away because you didn't have a plan B, or you didn't have a plan that you were working on other things. And so when it happened, it was like, wow. Now,
Yeah.
granted, anytime you get laid off, there's going to be those initial emotions, period. So you're gonna have your feels and you're gonna feel how you feel, but just hearing that, I was like, wow, that's deep, man. That is deep. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. That kind of what you said kind of reminded me of I don't remember what team or what sport specifically, but I don't know. You remember that case where it was like the head coach was winning. He had a winning record, but they still fired him. It's like, well, dang, what more do you want me to do? Or something crazy. Or he had just won some. And it was like, wow. So sometimes it's not even about performance. I think that's even what happened with Phil Jackson. I mean, I was a little ahead of my time, not sure if that's the exact story, but I think they said on the last dance, they told him at the beginning of the season, we don't care if you win every single game and the championship. You out of here. You better
That's
start figuring
wild.
out your next moves.
Yeah, but
So
that's great to at least get the heads up because some people you just get that invite from HR and you sitting in there and you feel like it's an ambush, and you so caught off
yeah,
guard, you know, they done strategically, you know, structure these meetings and you had no idea that the meeting was coming, and it's like, damn, I'm getting laid off.
yep.
But to wrap up on this conversation, the one thing I always tell people to think about, like it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole of looking at it as negativity, which
Hmm.
in the moment it sucks. Like don't get it twisted. However, it's definitely an opportunity. Your lighting is terrible, bro. But it's definitely an opportunity to look for like maybe it didn't happen to you, it's happening for you. Like, and it's gonna open up your next opportunity. And because when you listen to these different interviews and things like, think about it, you might just been in that cushy job, you're getting that check, and you like, man, this is
Yeah,
one thing I've been wanting to do, but I'm getting this money, so I'm just kind of chilling. And
yeah,
so it pushed you out your comfort zone to actually go
yeah,
do the thing that been in the back of your mind anyway. And so when you
yeah,
listen to like certain interviews, success stories, like and you like, and they tell you like that was one of the best things. That was that pivotal moment. I didn't see it. I didn't in the moment. I didn't realize that that was a pivotal moment for my life, but it was. And so I always try to like share that spark of light and hope for people when it happened to. And hey, if it ever happens for me or happen for you, I'm gonna still be having the same conversation. Like life ain't over, but it does make it easier when you have an emergency fund in place, when you got investments, when you're not gonna be in financial duress when something happens, because usually you might actually get a severance package, and if you could and so if you got your emergency fund, you got your investments rocking, and then you get that severance check. If you potentially be strategic about it, that can really you could potentially pivot, go grab something else, and it basically was like a bonus for you. Now I know that's in like the perfect case scenario, but heck, even if you got to take a step back for a minute, take a lower paying job, keep the money flowing while you still got this pool of money, and then you can relieve some of the tension, and then you think about what's my next move, and maybe it's a contract situation, or whatever. I don't know what it looks like. But my thing is, sure, you may want to pause for a week or so to just gather your thoughts, process your emotions. If you need to talk to your therapist and just calibrate, but like sitting at home all day, every day, like soaking about what happened, hey, it's life. This gonna happen. And so my biggest thing is as soon as you can get back on, once you deal with your emotions, and that's really important. Let's keep going. Like no matter what, let's keep moving forward. This is just gonna be a part of the journey.
Yeah, and I'm laughing because what I'm hearing, what you're saying, it just reminds me of my job, man. Just in terms of just sales, period. It's really sales. Because I'm thinking, at the end of the day, it's all about the business of you. It's Kenny Inc., it's Keon LLC, and so kind of like something I've had to become accustomed to with my job, and I'm pretty sure most salespeople, when they hear this, they'll know what I'm saying. You'll get used to a contract not going your way, even if a contract's been going your way or was about to go your way. And things can always change. Things can always happen. And I really agree with what you were saying about not always viewing it from a negative perspective. I mean, yeah, of course, when you're laid off, yes, I believe you should, take an hour, take a couple of hours and, feel what you feel, go through it, but then, bounce back. But like you said, I feel like, outside of being laid off, just period, people, once you have a job, like you said, you just kind of, like you said, attach is the word I think you use. That's a good word. Like you just kind of, this is a part of your identity now. Whereas the job market is viewed as like this scary thing where it's like, oh, it's a I'm about to get shredded up in there. I'm about to just get rejected over and over. It's not even worth looking. But there has to be a disconnect because that can't be true. But at the same time, recruiters are saying, man, we just can't find good enough talent. We're trying to, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Both things can't be true at the same time. Somebody, there's a role and there are people that needs to be filled. Now, of course, there are exceptions, for different positions in different industries, but I think that when you flip the switch and go from this job is my identity, this is all I do, to no, I'm working for Keon or Kenny LLC. This job is my current contract that I'm doing right now. But if I look on the open market, just like in sports, hey, if the season's over with, right? I can just go look and see what I'm worth, right? They offering 5 years, 275, you know what I mean? And so hopefully someone that's listening to this or one of us to get a job that offer that. But you get my point. Like, oh shoot, on the market for this same type of job, I can get paid double, or I can get paid a different commission structure,
Yep.
or this is different. And so you start to realize like, oh, this is what I'm worth on the market or what I could be worth. And these are the skills that I possess. Because over time, as sit on a job, hopefully you're building up skills to where you're able to say, oh wow, like I feel confident. Whereas a year ago, I wouldn't have felt confident saying I could do this. Now I can say I can do that with ease. And I have stories to back it up.
Facts. Hey, that's yeah, that's great. So we've talked about $100,000 is no longer the American dream. We've talked about the layoffs, but then we've also talking about having a bounce back story and knowing your worth and getting back out there in the job market. So I'm gonna pivot to the last segment of the show, it's gonna be on a little bit more of a positive note, right? Like perceived positive note. So
There we go.
let me do a quick screen share. It's something called the 5 F's of life. I first one of the first times I heard this and it resonated with me heavy was listening to ET's podcast when Jamal mentioned the pillars of life, the 5 pillars of life. But I actually was doing some digging and I found it somewhere else, and I thought that was pretty cool. It's a book on it, and it's the five.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a book on it, and I'm gonna check out the book, but I wanted to share with the folks on the podcast, on our show to just talk through it. And uh, uh, so this person wrote the book, let me see. And so faith, fitness, family. So it and I was and so then I went down a rabbit hole, like, and I saw people was doing different variations of the 5 F's of life. So I'm like, okay, so they have faith, fitness. This one has family, friends, finances. Well,
Mhm.
the one that I resonated more with was the one that Jamal remixed, is the faith, fitness, family and friends, finance, and freedom. Like, so that freedom bucket, where like that freedom slash fun bucket, right? Like where, lifestyle design, and going and doing the things that you want to do, charities, taking trips that you want to take trips on, just things that just fill your heart up, things that give you joy. Uh, but let's go through each one of them. And so I want to kick it to you on and let me see, I'll find the book. I'll find the book later. But
Mhm.
so when it comes to faith, and I was looking at some of these, I'm like, these days finance is pretty strong. Friends are okay. I can get better in that one. Family, I can always use work to keep, getting closer with family. Fitness, I feel like I'm finding my stride in fitness. Faith, I can use some work in there. So just transparent, on my end. And so just working, there's always work to do, right? So what about you? What do you see? What are your thoughts on the 5 F's of life? Does it resonate? Because it seemed like a pretty straightforward framework that you could use as a gauge, right? Like of what's important. What's important in life? Because sometimes you can go down IG rabbit holes, YouTube rabbit holes, the
Yeah.
controversial things. But I think this, like having that as a strong foundation of like just a quick check of like how am I doing in all these areas? I think it's a good measure. What are your thoughts on?
I think these type of systems are great because I'm the type of person that I try to live by systems. Like that's how I stay organized. That's how I organize my thoughts. That's when when I wake up, I'm like, okay, and my faith pillar. How can what can I do today? My fitness, family. And so, it's a good way for me to wake up or at the end of the day review, like, okay, in this pillar, what did I do today? How can I improve? And so I really like this faith pillar that they put on this one. Now, it is a little different. The other ones, the friends, and I think the friends one is a new one. I hadn't seen that one before as a pillar. I think that's pretty cool. But I really like the faith one because I feel like sometimes, you can hear the faith one, and sometimes you can get a little thrown off. Like I don't want to really get into that religion stuff quite yet. Maybe the person's just not ready. But I like this definition here when it just says gets you through the bad times when everything seems impossible. Now, for a good amount of people, that is religion, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It could be a part of it, but I like this definition in that it just says because we all going to go through bad times, regardless of what we all that's just a part of the human experience. But what do you
Right.
do that helps you get through that and connect connect yourself to the good times on the other side? And so for me, I think that's the area that even when all the other ones might have been, wherever they were, I think that one's always been pretty solid for me. And I think that's a result of, having a good support system. And just from the beginning, just my watching, I feel like my mom has always, our mom has
Hmm.
always been like that. Just always been Positively, or at least that's always my takeaway from her. Just regardless of what's going on with life, she's gonna be in control of her mood. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, like
Yeah.
so that's powerful. I want that. I want to be able to do
Yeah. That is a good that is a great example. All right. So all right, what about this fitness pillar for you?
that. I ain't gonna lie, I could definitely be doing better, but I just had a pretty good 3 month stretch. I was locked in with a trainer, and so now I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do in my next city, and so I'm gonna find a new gym. I think I'm gonna continue with the trainer because it was a difference. I definitely noticed a difference. And then I'm also gonna try to build some stuff at home. Not try. I'm gonna not build, but just get like some dumbbells or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, food wise though, I've been getting a little crazy with the sweets. But overall though, we tend to eat pretty good. We try to cook at home most nights, like at least 5 to 6 nights a week. So that's why I say some people don't cook,
Yeah.
and so but yeah, family wise. I mean, I think of two family. Your internal family. Your household, I guess, and then your external.
Right.
Household wise, I feel pretty good. I think that the future is bright, and I'm just embracing my role as the person who's guiding us and navigating the ship and making sure that I clear obstacles for us and guide us towards the right path. And then friends is interesting because I really don't have that many friends. And I don't want to say that to be, everybody says that trying to sound cool or different, like, oh, I'm a loner, but, and I don't want to say it to offend people because I do have friends. I got a lot of friends, of course, through high school, college. It's a lot of people that I'm cool with, but I don't really hang out with a lot of people. Just because I don't really have a lot of time. A lot of us are busy. It's not
Yeah.
like college where, you finish class and then afterwards you just, it's whatever. But I will say, I think this when my friends are focused more on quantity, no, not quantity, excuse me, quality over quantity, because I think that your friends like this. I think it's cool that they add this to their pillar system because
Yeah.
friends can really be a difference maker. That's your network. They can really lift you up or be what is tying you back to your old life and not
Right.
letting you evolve.
Right. Right, right. Yeah, man. Yeah, so yeah, I thought that that this would be thought provoking to share the 5 F's in life. Now let's talk about that month. Like, hey, now we coming full circle. We talked about everything. Let's talk
Yeah,
about that money. How we looking on that money
yeah.
side?
I would say that was the last one, right? Finances.
Yep.
Yep. Man, I think what you said something earlier that really resonated. I think it was during the layoff part when you was talking about when you got your emergency fund built up. And I was just like, yeah, man, like ours isn't fully built up, but it's about 2/3 of the way there. But it's just such a difference maker when it's like when little habits pay off because it's in a moment when it's just a way of life. You go from frivolous, I don't want to say frivolous spending, but it's like anything else, like with eating or you have to put in a conscious effort. And the hardest part is at the beginning. The hardest part is going, you know what? I want something different. I'm going to put a system in place. Every time I get paid, we're going to do this. And we're going to save X amount of money. I'm going to save X amount of money. You have to choose not to be comfortable because me and my partner, we were having a conversation the other day. I told her, I said, man, what we're doing is a little weird. I think it's kind of what Dave Ramsey saying in his videos. He said, you're weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, like no credit card debt, no student loan debt, no mortgage, no. I mean, the mortgage ain't bad. But I'm just saying we just haven't done that yet. But no debt. I mean, it's nothing. And then yeah, a good amount of money saved up. I'm like, wow. That's why when we did that net worth topic the other day, I was like, wow, like that's just such a crazy difference. And so, and I feel like a lot of our people might not get to start that way. I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of our people end up, in
Negative.
the red,
Yeah.
um, for whatever reason. It doesn't matter why, but it just is. Um, but this isn't about them. This is about me. I'm talking about my finances. My finances, I feel pretty good. I don't want to get into too much about my my career. I don't know when it's gonna get released. Who's gonna see that? But all
Yeah.
I'm gonna say is what you said about having an emergency fund funded makes a difference. I'm gonna say that it definitely makes a difference to where you're able to plan a transition with a lot more ease and peace of mind, if you get what I'm saying. Now, of course, everything ain't, kind of like what I was saying earlier, 100,000 just because you got it, like, that ain't, it ain't sweet. You still have to work, but you're able to step back and say, like you said, either take a lower paying job and just keep the bills paid and protect yourself from eating up that
Yeah.
emergency fund, or you can take a month or two and say, hey, how much am I worth? Like, how much am I worth?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that's good, man. Just wanted to get your perspective on it. Everything is moving on the finance tip for me, as always. I mean, I'm always dollar cost averaging into the market, working on some side things as well, and in addition to things going well at the J. So like it just it never stops, man. And so like this is for we make this content for the audience who want to keep pushing, want to keep doing the best, want to become the best version of themselves for themselves first and foremost, so they can show up to the best of their ability for their families and their friends, their communities, their charities, and all the things, and so but if that doesn't resonate with you and you want to fight for, making 30,000 and 40,000, and you want to stay in that space, unfortunately, I honestly don't really have much to share with you, but also your stance is okay too. It just doesn't resonate with the crowd, where we're going and what we're doing, and the crowd that we're looking to attract and encourage while they're on their journey.
Yeah. Okay, I got a quick question, and maybe this might be another video, so don't let me know. So I'm curious, on the finance tip. So kind of like how you were saying, what do you find yourself doing differently from your peers, whether at your job or just among your age range, or in your location, your friends? What do you find yourself doing differently in terms of your expenses? Because I'm sure you have people that's either earning, they're earning high, low, a good
Yeah.
range of incomes. But what do you find yourself doing differently in terms of how you're spending it out? And like this might be another video, so the people might have to stay tuned because I'm curious. I'm sure they might be curious as well. But
Yeah.
can think on it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna answer that question. So where I find one, I don't really care to compare myself to others, but what I found what I have just observed without judgment is, you know, my wife and I, we're lean. Like, we save slash invest about 45 to 50% of our income. That
Mm.
is that right there in itself. I don't really know anyone around me that's doing that.
Did you learn that from someone around you?
No, I didn't.
Mm.
It was just reading and studying and just playing around with retirement calculators, playing around with fire, retire early, the financial independence, retire early. But I really just like the financial independence part. And what I discovered when I seen people that were a part of the fire movement, they saved slash invested a significant portion of their income so they can get to their fire number, so they can live off the interest of their money. And most of them had relatively high incomes, but they were saving like a lot of their money, like investing a lot of their money. And they were and then they also started doing side hustles and all these other things. And so when you're asking me about the expenses, one of the things is we just don't accumulate a lot of expenses. Like, we stay fairly lean. Like the place that we stay in, could we could I be in a high rise right now? Like, in a crazy looking loft or condo or something like that?
Yeah.
Absolutely, we could. But we are being strategic in that area. Like we didn't want to be house poor. It's just the two of us. So we didn't want to do that. When we purchase cars, we're weird in that regard because we pay cash, and if we do get a loan, we usually pay it off within 6 months to a year. Year is a stretch for us, but we usually have it paid off in 6 months.
Yep.
When we take trips, if we put it on the credit card, we immediately pay it off. Like we don't carry balances. So like the behaviors that we built, we're weird. Like, but that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I know when people be like, you don't got no car, and it's not like I'm going around like I ain't got no car, no. Like we just doing our thing, and somebody be like, man, that's nice. I bet that car no. How like, oh no, we
Yeah.
don't have no car, no. I got the
Yeah,
top.
people just making comments and or ask a question, and like sometimes I won't, I don't know, sometimes I won't answer. Or like I think one day, 'cause I don't know if I shared on the money show, maybe that'll be another episode. But one day, long story short, crashed my whip and had to get another one. I just paid cash for it, and then but I mean I didn't go around flexing that, telling folks like, yeah, just drop X amount. But I mean, I just had to, and I didn't feel, like you said, I just didn't feel like carrying a note, But I thought about it. Like I said, I'm not saying like I'm better than. I thought about
Yeah.
it for some reason, even though I had the money. I still was like, what if I put down a certain amount? And my girl was like, Keon, wow, don't do that. It's just dumb. You got the money, just do it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
So yeah, I mean, you start to realize like, oh, everybody ain't doing this. Like, but that's okay. Like, we got to get out of this comparing ourselves to people that's operating sub uh stop comparing yourself to people that's average. Like if you're gonna compare yourself to someone that's doing well, like, and not in an envious way. Like, man, I have friends that like, I'm like, man, they crushing it. Like I aspire, like one, I'm inspired. I don't necessarily want to be them, but like I'm
yeah,
like, man, like you inspire, you give me energy, like you make me want to
yeah,
continue to do better. Like, but why you have to justify your current position? Like, well, I'm better than most people. Most people are average. Like this community is of people that are not average. This community is people that's doing things where you might be the like when you walk around, when you go back home, like everyone looking at you crazy because you weird, but you looking at them like they weird because you like that. Like my thing is we have to create the new norm. A lot of times we have been in situations, circumstances that are just absolutely dysfunctional, and it has become your norm. And you double down and you defend it like it's normal, and it's not.
yeah, man. Like a lot of I know this is the KB Money Show, and some people might be like, oh, that's all y'all talk about, money. And life ain't all about money, but man, shoot, money. I put like this: it's like life is a door, and just money is the key, and it's gonna unlock a lot of opportunities for you. And so we want to see the best for you guys. We want to see the best for ourselves, and we want to bring you along the journey of us improving ourselves. And I really hope that this touches you guys and inspires you guys. So please reach out. If you got any questions, please drop a comment. If you got any questions or anything that you're dealing with. I feel like we could probably maybe do a segment on the KB Money Show. People do submissions or something like that.
Yeah,
That might be cool.
yeah,
But just in general, if you guys got any ideas or things that you want us to talk about, but we'll continue discussing our daily lives and bringing this content to you guys because and it was part of the reason why I asked you that question about the people around you and who you learned from, because I think I learned a lot of my habits from you. And so that's when I say I look around like at my peers, I'm like, well, this is kind of weird what I'm doing. Like you have to fight the urge because this stuff is being marketed to you, and
Facts.
it's crazy.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, I think that's a good. I think that's a good stopping point for us. Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate y'all, and we will see you next week. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Catch you on the next one.